Yates, I'm a super sensitive human, and tonight I'm going to talk to you about my experiment with EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. Now, I've been chronically ill for a long time and basically tried everything in the book. There's a lot of things that you can try self-help wise to get better. There's yoga, meditation, diets, herbs, breathing exercises, intellectual exercises, and you can only do a few of those things at once. There's only so much time in the day. And ideally, to know if one of those things is going to improve your condition, you're going to have to stick to it for a number of weeks or months and do it consistently every day. Unless you're one of those lucky ones who just does something the first time and, wow, this is amazing, I'm going to dedicate my life to this and teach everybody else how to do it too. That's not the case with me, or I wouldn't still be sick 18 years later. I'm going to give a little bit of background on EFT, which is going to annoy some people because they're probably searching EFT and that's how they found this video. But I will just give a link in the description to when I start talking about the results for them, because I have a number of subscribers who may not be searching EFT and may not know anything about it, but they are my regular watchers. EFT is, it's only been around since the 90s, I think, and it's a form of energy psychology, so it hypothetically works by the energy acupuncture meridians. It's kind of like this, like, even though I have this fear, I deeply and completely accept myself. This fear, and you keep on focusing on the problem and tapping on these points. And there's different versions of it. Thought field therapy, TFT, is kind of the initial version that's a little bit more complicated and has some extra different points. And then the Gary Craig, I think, is the guy who decided, you know, that's too much. We're just gonna tap on, instead of tapping on certain points related to certain thoughts and emotions, we're just gonna go through a set of them, and if it's just going to cover it all. And if it doesn't matter if this one's related to fear, we're just going to cover it all. And then there's even other kinds. People just say tapping. I do tapping and they have their own style of it. And then there's faster EFT, which is even less points and a little bit different. Mostly it's just philosophical differences. Because nobody really knows why it works. And I'm going to do a different video on the science behind it and what we do know about what parts of it work and why it might work. But it's, you know, it's kind of a mystery because you don't know exactly what if I say some different words than they want me to. What if I tap in a different place? Do I even need to say the words? Can I just watch them? Or what if I can't lift my hand, so I can only say the words and I can't do the tapping? But that's a different video. Basically they're all similar, so it doesn't matter that much. So what I did, and you can do this too, is just look up some YouTube videos on EFT, and there's tons of tap-alongs, follow-alongs. Just look up any problem you have. Say you have self-worth issues, just put in tapping self-worth and it'll come up with a bunch of videos. So that's what I did for my experiment. It was all YouTube, watching tap-alongs, and I did it every morning, more or less, for 6 weeks for about an hour. That seems like a long time. You wouldn't have to do it that long to make a good experiment. You could do it for just 7 minutes or 15 minutes or half an hour, whatever you want would make a good experiment. But for me, I don't know, I feel like time flies for me. It's easy to spend an hour doing something and I'll stop and jot down a note that I thought of in the middle, or get up and make a smoothie in the middle. So I wasn't necessarily working on the same problem the whole time, and that could affect the results because it could be important to focus on one problem and see if you can really get rid of everything, all the emotions around this one incident, say. But that's not what I did, and you'll probably find too that whatever's bothering you changes as you go along. So you might be bothered by one thing, and then you have this memory and you're bothered by that one now, and it's kind of a spider web. And that's kind of what tends to happen naturally anyway, so I don't know if it's bad to jump around. So there's videos for anything you want. They're both for negative things and manifesting positive things. You can work on pain and shame and guilt, or you can work on clearing blocks to manifesting a certain amount of money, manifesting your highest potential. I don't know if they all work the same, but they're out there. You can even tap on getting rid of cavities if you want. So what happened to me? Well, nothing dramatic. Unfortunately, I wasn't expecting anything dramatic. So I will say that it did seem to change over time, because when I first started the tapping, it seemed like I had a lot more, I could feel a lot more physical buzzing and tingling and stuff from the tapping itself. Like there really was blocks getting released, or the energy starting to move. And then after like a week or so, I never really felt very much buzzing or tingling anymore when I did it. So maybe there was some backlog that got released there as my meridians learned to flow more normally. I also was a lot more emotional at first, and like the first couple times I did videos, I would cry when I did the video, and then after that it just went away after about a week too, with the buzzing and stuff, and then I would just get tired, and that persisted until now, until the whole 6 weeks, just feeling tired afterward. Because one of the hypotheses about why this works is that it sends a calming signal to your brain while you're recalling this troublesome, non-calming emotion. So you bring up this memory or whatever that's distressing, and then you do the tapping and say the words at the same time, and it's telling your brain, calm down, calm down, calm down, and rewiring it so it's not dissociating from the memory from the reaction. And so then you can think that memory and only feel calmness in the future. So for me, every time that I do the EFT, I get super sleepy, which is kind of annoying when you have chronic fatigue already, because you want to be super sleepy, but I'll start yawning while I'm doing the tapping. So that's really interesting, because, you know, having adrenal fatigue, chronic fatigue, PTSD, being stuck in fight or flight response, they're all kind of similar things. So, and I tend to be really, really anxious in the morning, like just biologically, my adrenals are just pumping, trying to, I don't know, get my blood pressure up, get my blood sugar up, and I'm like just have uncontrolled anxiety. So to be able to sit down and just do something calming is interesting. Although I would find that if I get back up and start doing stuff again, the calm would slowly go away. Theoretically, if I could stay in the sort of non-fight or flight parasympathetic mode often enough, I would start recovering, and it would start sticking and staying longer. But I did a lot on pain, and I have to say I don't feel any pain reduction, or didn't feel any pain reduction while I was doing the technique. It's supposed to be really good for pain. I'll tell you what I really like about the technique. Out of all the techniques that I could do, if I could choose something to do for 1 hour in the morning that's going to potentially lead to my healing, as somebody who has chronic fatigue, I want it to be easy. I want to be able to sit down or recline and do it, and this is suitable for that, much more so than doing yoga or something that's going to take a lot of effort. Easier than breathing, easier than a lot of things. That sounds weird to say it's easier than breathing, but I mean like serious breathing where you, because of that, I found myself looking forward to it, and because I kind of knew that I could calm myself down, I found myself looking forward to it, because I could like, normally I would be scared to check my email or something before too early in the day. I feel like that would hype me up when I'm already kind of hyped up in the morning, so I might leave it for a little bit, for a few hours. But in this case, I could just check my social media and stuff and then do the tapping and kind of like cleanse that anxiety. It also helped control my anxiety going to bed in the evening and waking up in the morning, just knowing that this was gonna be part of my routine, and that it would be something calming and something easy, that I wouldn't have to think, oh my God, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do with my time right now? I don't wanna do that. I have to force myself to do that. I didn't really have to force myself to do this. So that was a nice benefit of being able to actually look forward to doing it. And there's so many different videos and different styles and different people that I could keep entertained, because I'm very easily bored. Despite my lackluster results, I encourage anybody to try it, because there's so much amazing and good results and testimonials and science out there that I would say just go ahead and see if it works for you when you're having a specific issue or emotion or memory that you would prefer not be there. Because I don't know why it doesn't work for me really well, but basically nothing does. Every practitioner that I've ever been to is shocked by my non-responsiveness, so I'm just a freak and a weirdo. According to my last video I did with my personality test, I'm prone to feel that way, but no, I think I really am, according to the feedback that I've received from others, not just my own mind. There's very little risk to trying EFT. You might have some kind of triggering breakdown if you are not ready to cope with a certain memory, but you know, you can just keep tapping on it if something like that comes up, something strong, and don't quit. Just keep working through it until you feel calmer. Some of the big names out there are this guy Brad Yates, who's super just like super nice, and you just kind of want him to be your dad. If you're the right age for him to be your dad, maybe you want him to be your husband. I can kind of go either way. And then there's this guy Dawson Church, who's a big EFT proponent and researcher. He has a nice sort of positively focused video about manifesting your best self that I can link to, because that's a good one. I also watched this girl, Jen Partridge, who doesn't really have very many subscribers at all, but she has really high quality production value in her videos, and has some longer sequences, because a lot of them are like 10 minutes and some of hers are 20-30 minutes and have some different points, so you might like her. So I'm sure you can find somebody that you like, and it's free, which is great, and it's non-analytical, which is great for me because I tend to think too much. And if you get me doing journaling or like listing of any kind, even like listing stuff I'm grateful for or positive thoughts, I will think too much to come up with the positive thought and be disturbed by the negative thought that I'm supposed to find the opposite of. All I can say negative is I'm really not sure that it did much for me. I don't feel like a changed person after 6 weeks really at all. Hopefully it's just, you know, maybe I've just got a lot of stuff and it's just peeling away one little thin papery layer at a time. Or maybe it's just kind of dealing with that day or the day before, just like build up some stress, take it away, build up some stress, take it away, build up some stress, take it away. I don't really know what's going on. And I'm not sure that this is the biggest bang for my buck in terms of therapies, but in terms of easiness, like I was saying, it's very easy. Yes, well, that's my experience with EFT. If you have any questions about it or comments about if it's worked for you, then just leave a comment below. And like I said, I'm going to do a video on the science because I like to read scientific research for fun because I'm a nerd.